given is, are we comfortably numb? This being one of the things that kept Tim up at night. So the first thing that we were supposed to do was really try to assess what the problem was. So by saying, are we comfortably numb? What we really took that to mean is, our people, especially our bankers, gotten to the point where they would rather be comfortable but unsuccessful, rather than to get outside of their comfort zones, do things they haven't had to do over the course of the past couple of years, but then bring results as a result of that. So, defining that as the problem, what we really talked about is the fact that when you want to exercise change in someone, there are two main motivations that people have. Generally speaking, people will either run away from pain or they will run towards pleasure. So, with the thought of people being being comfortably numb, there are really two things that we need to do. First thing we need to do is we need to attack the numbness. We need to get people feeling motivated. We need to get people feeling inspired. Being back in the office, we know that our DMBs have been doing one-on-ones with their folks, but we need to ramp these up. We need to understand what people are coming to work for. We need to give them goals. We need to make sure that we are tied into what their why is, and we really need to develop the relationships between our directors and our bankers to get people feeling again and turn the numbness away. But the second thing that we have to do is we also have to look at the word comfortable. I don't want anyone to misguide or misconstrue what I'm saying. I do not want to build an environment that is uncomfortable or brings discomfort to anyone. But we all know that you grow outside of comfort. And what we need to do is we need to create an environment specifically through our DMBs to be able to move people outside of comfort so that they can grow. So one of the things that we've thought about is accountability. One of the things we talked about is having difficult conversations with bankers. What we really need to do right now is we need to get our directors into a position where they are comfortable talking to people about having things like 2 hours of locked screen time per day. Over the pandemic, these conversations have happened as an email, hey, what was up with your aux yesterday? Or an IM. They're not face-to-face conversations the way that they need to be. So one of the things we can do, and if we can put the slide up now, is this is a diagram that I've had for a while, which I call the 4 E's. It's actually the 5 E's of leadership. The first one is expectations. The second one is encouragement, and then also explanation. That would be like the 5th E. The bottom is execution, and then upwards is evaluation. This is just a square. It always goes. And when you use this, you're clearly setting clear expectations for people, encouraging them and explaining to them how they would be able to do and accomplish the expectation. You define what the execution looks like. Then afterwards, you evaluate how it was done. And when deployed, this is called squaring somebody up. And people like to be squared up. People want to know where they stand. We need to have some form of training like this with all of our DMBs, and we need to assist them in having these conversations. One of the things DePero brought up was one of his favorite one-on-ones he ever used to do with a DMB was just say, hey, I want you to write down 5 conversations that you've been dreading having or putting off having. Call the people in the room, and then I'm going to have the conversation, and then have you just observe me have the conversation. That gives our DMBs confidence to be able to make sure that they're effectively leading folks in a time period where we have gotten a little numb. So this was what we had come up with. We first really need to seek to light the fire and the inspiration, but we also have to make sure that we are equipping our leaders with the ability to lead and doing that in a way where they can, hold people accountable and know that if someone isn't held accountable, that there could be a consequence to it. So that's what we came up with. Thank you.
Well done, Jake.